Thanks for the support as a channel member, Miles Trash. Oh, it's all going wrong, boys and girls. We didn't win a single football match in October, which included defeats against Barnsley and Benfica in the Champions League. The wheels have come off already. I've been here 3 months. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 4 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have 2 games for you. One away against Wolves in the Premier League and the all-important Champions League game at home against Paris Saint-Germain. As mentioned in the intro, October was an absolute nightmare. Draws against Bournemouth, Liverpool and West Brom in the Premier League. We did lose on our return to Barnsley. I was this close to showing you this game, and I'm now very glad I didn't. I mean, I don't know what Gary Monk is doing. He's got Andrin up front on his own, despite, I don't even know where Scuck is. Vanna not getting on, Okoflex, I mean, he's made a right mess of that, but he still beat us, thanks to a penalty from the Brazilian superstar that I signed back in the summer, William. In fact, that's, I mean, it looks like a very strong side. In an alternate universe, I'm sure I'm having a lovely time managing that Barnsley team. But we also lost against Benfica in the Champions League. Thankfully, upon a change in tactic, which I'll show you in a second, we did recover and beat Benfica 4-0 in the Champions League. Absolutely smashed them, in fact. If we get the match stats up, you'll see that they didn't even have a shot. This is the team that beat us just a couple of weeks before. We switched to a tiki-taka, but still with the 4-2-3-1 shape and a couple of tweaks to some of the player roles. And it got some form out of Jadon Sancho again, which that's an achievement in itself, because despite spending a huge amount of money on him, he had a very miserable October along with the rest of the team. But we got him playing to his strengths again, which got the rest of the team. I mean, it was just a fantastic performance. And then we carried it on with a win against Southampton in the Premier League as well. So the Premier League table looks like this. We're in 6th place. We've got a game in hand on almost everybody above us, apart from Arsenal. We are only 2 points outside of the Champions League spots. So the Premier League's not a disaster. We only need to finish in the top 4 this year to meet the board's requirements. The media are expecting us to finish 5th. So by all accounts, we're not doing too badly in the Premier League, but it is a little bit of a drop-off from where Spurs were last year when they very nearly won the league. It's the Kev effect. Champions League is going to be a little bit more of a challenge because we've now played Benfica twice. We've played Ghent once. We've played Paris Saint-Germain once. We are currently 2nd, level on points with Benfica, but ahead of them, presumably on both goal difference and head-to-head. I think as long as both us and Benfica beat Genk and lose to Paris Saint-Germain in the final 2 games, we should be fine. The difficulty is if we lose against Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica somehow beat them, that's a big issue. Ideally, we'll beat Paris Saint-Germain today and they'll lose against Ghent and then we'll be happy. But obviously we need to get out of our Champions League group, because if we look at the Club Vision thing, which does confirm qualify for the Champions League for next year, which obviously is super important, but they are also expecting a Champions League quarter-final. So getting knocked out in the group stage, not a great idea. But we'll worry about that in a few minutes' time. Firstly, we are going to play Wolves in the Premier League, and I am going to take that as an opportunity to show off our new tiki-taka for you. So, as you can see, it's basically the built-in tiki-taka, just with a couple of tweaks to give me my usual midfield shape that I love so much. The one that Miles gave me so long ago now, with a deep-line playmaker and defender, box-to-box midfielder and an attacking midfielder in front of them. It's the rules, because Miles said so, and a little tweak to Sancho. I think I did this in the last episode, making him inverted winger. I tried putting him back to an inside forward and as part of the gegenpress. I think, in summary, the gegenpress didn't really work for Spurs, and I've actually switched England to the tiki-taka as well, those of you interested in England, and it saw a little bit of upturn in fortune for England as well, beating both France and Serbia in the Nations League. Not enough to actually top the Nations League group, because we'd lost to Serbia earlier on as well as losing to France, but it was nice to see a little bit of return to form for England as well. Obviously, they're basically the same team. There's like 8 Spurs players in the England team, so if tiki-taka's working at club level, Raheem Sterling and John Stones are going to need to learn to play it for England with the rest of the Spurs players who are up there with them. So, the team for the Wolves game. We've got Pickford in goal, a back four of Sessegnon, Fotheringham, Banfalvi and Castagna, Gravenberch and Haidar in midfield, Sancho, Ali and Hudson-Odoi behind Clark? Kane. Why am I calling him Clark? He's Harry Kane. I think I've played him before once or twice. As you can see, I have taken the decision to drop Morgan Gibbs-White. James Maddison's still on the bench as well. Dele Alli has been in good form both for club and country in the last few matches. We can't see his international performances on that. I mean, that doesn't show. He played well for England. He did play well against Liverpool as well. We actually played him up front. I was clutching at straws. I hit quick pick. It was mad. I hit the quick pick button, and quick pick put Dele Alli up front. And I thought, all right. I mean, we're having a sad time. Let's see what happens. I mean, we'd only drawn against Bournemouth at that point, but I thought let's just have a little experiment. Quick pick, Dele Alli up front. Dele Alli scored the goal in that game as well from a header whilst playing up front. So it's a strange world that we live in here in the future. Let's get into the game against Wolves and hopefully pick up another victory as we look to leave the misery that was October behind us and prove that November is the best of the wintry, autumny months. It's autumn, isn't it? Not winter. The media have been on your back for ages now. I think that's a little bit... Have the media been on our back? That seems a little unfair because we are vaguely meeting expectations. We just need to swap that back to become latest scores. Someone in the comments had posited a theory that the reason this keeps messing up is because I swap back and forth between my desktop and my laptop. We've disproven that theory because I think I'd fixed this on the last episode. I played the in-betweeny bits on my desktop today because I'm recording this Friday night because I don't want to work at the weekend. So I recorded the Friday episode this morning, played the in-betweeny bits on this PC this afternoon, back on the PC again to record this evening, and yeah, it's broken. It seems whenever I close the game, for whatever reason, and we are 1-0 down, which is troublesome because Wolves, they're nothing special, are they? They're just Wolves. I'm looking at that team. I'm recognising so many players I've had in other saves recently. Livakovic, I don't think we've had in this series. Martinez, I don't think was this series. Van der Beek, I don't think was this series. But I've had all of those players in my teams. Fraser Hornby down there on the bench for Wolves. Come on, we need an equaliser before half time to show this tiki-taka nonsense works. We've controlled possession, but we've not really done much else. Talking of controlled possession, we did try the controlled possession system for a couple of matches and it didn't go well, which is why we ended up with the tiki-taka. I like a tiki-taka. I think, was the tiki-taka what we used with Man United in the beta save way back when? It seemed to work quite well there. Right, passionately, you know as well as I do the first half wasn't good enough. I've put them deep in thought. I mean, it was weird to passionately do a negative team talk. I'm nothing if not an innovator. Let's see if it works. 68% possession is insane. Ben White, he's been in not only in the posh team in real life last season, but also I think we had him, I want to say at Forest Green last year on Non-League to Legend. I'm sure the LOLLUJO historians will correct me and tell me where we actually had it. I'm pretty sure it was Forest Green. We had Ben White on loan from Brighton, and then he joined Posh on loan not long afterwards in real life. I think that was the sequence of events. Harry Kane trying to play the role of chasing down and hassling defenders. He's not really got it in him at his age. He's nearly as old as I am. And, I mean, he's trying to prove me wrong, but he's no Mason Greenwood in that role. And Greenwood has played a couple of games here and there. Orlando's gone off the boil a little bit. I think Greenwood is probably my backup striker at the moment. That was a good direct run from Hudson-Odoi, but it is straight. Well, it wasn't straight at the keeper. That's unfair, but it wasn't cannoning into the top corner. That's for sure. Right, we're going to make some changes. We are going to get Kane off, and I'm going to bring Greenwood on. Although the assistant manager's saying Orlando, Greenwood's looked very, very positive every time we've used him. And of course, he keeps the whole young English theme going that we've got. I'm also going to bring Maddison on. The crowd goes wild. Stick Maddison out on that left-hand side. And Sancho's going to come over here where I'm going to get him to play as just a normal winger and see how he likes that. And we've done this a couple of times when he's been struggling to get into games. We'll switch him over to that side and just say, look, just be a normal winger. There you go. He's gone from frustrated to inspired. That's called man management. Maddison with the free kick. Fotheringham's there. And I thought that was saved by the keeper, but apparently that's a goal kick. Are we really going back into the miserable form? We don't want more misery. We want to be good at football again. Remember when we were good at football? Briefly. Final change. The midfield shattered, so we've got to take at least one of them off. Just take them both off. I mean, Gibbs-White has got a double barrel surname, so he could come on for them both. But I think in the circumstances, we'll bring him on for that guy, and then we'll swap him to... He might even be better off that. You know what I'm going to do. We all know what I'm going to do. We're going to swap it around. Get Maddison back where he belongs as the deep lying playmaker. He loves it there. He tells me that's his favourite position. And then we are going to show some passion. We're going to go attack him. I probably should have paused because it took me 5 minutes to tell him to go attacking after making that change. And fingers crossed, we can find a late equaliser. I want to demand more as well. How much added time are we getting? Castagna with the cross. Greenwood's there and hits the post. That felt like it should have been a goal. We've played really well. Look at, once again, similar to the Benfica game, Wolves have only managed one shot on target in the entire match. We are really restricting chances for the opposition with this system. The only problem is they've scored 2 goals. Okay, they've scored 1 goal. And we haven't scored at all, despite dominating every other stat. I think it might be time to retire Harry Kane. Not retire Harry Kane, but maybe give Greenwood or Orlando, or both, a run in the team. Because Kane, I feel like he hasn't scored for a while. Let's have a little look. He scored a penalty there. When was the last time Harry Kane scored from open play? Way back on the 3rd of October. Since then, Greenwood's only scored once as well. Well, Orlando hasn't scored at all. Well, there's Greenwood again getting another one against Benfica. That's where the problem is. The strikers aren't scoring goals, which I guess is going to be an issue of the tiki-taka, maybe. I've already used a tiki-taka to break Mason Greenwood once in FM20 and Haaland. Right, a couple of changes for the PSG game, mainly caused by Banfelvi going off on his little holidays. He was all tired, so I had to send him off on a holiday because he got all tuckered out. So, I mean, he's only little. He's only 22. I mean, he is arguably the best young defender in the world. He's played nearly 50 times for Germany, but it's the second holiday he's had to have this season. Wolfsburg don't look like they were managing his game time much, but apparently we have to. Rubbish. So Van Houston comes back into the team for him, who was unavailable for the last game. Milenkovic comes back in at right back with Castagna dropping down to the bench. He's on the transfer list at his own request at the moment as well. So he's probably going to be on his way. We desperately need to sign a couple of right backs at the earliest opportunity. The problem, we do have a little bit of money. We could buy a right back with that. Arguably 2. But we've also brought Gibbs-White back into the team with Dele Alli dropping down to the bench. Gone for our first choice front 4, possibly for the last time, because if Harry Kane doesn't put in a performance today, it's time to try and build an attack around Mason Greenwood, I think, who is star rating wise at least, and we all know I absolutely trust the star ratings in this game and don't ever doubt them about any players. But if Greenwood's our best striker, he's like 24 years old, he's English. Yes, Orlando's a little bit younger, but I'm England manager. I want to develop an absolute superstar English striker so I can then use him for England as well, because we found in the World Cup in the summer, we were a little bit lacking up front. So if we can turn Mason Greenwood into a real world superstar, then that benefits me in both jobs that I'm currently doing. So there's very much reasons for wanting to push Greenwood ahead of Orlando. That has been the most uneventful first half in the history of professional football. We have controlled possession, but nothing else. Both teams have had 3 shots, none of which were worth a highlight. I could argue we've been the better team. Benfica not playing now. We must be the early kickoff. Gibbs-White's been error prone today. We have got Maddison on the bench and we've got Dele Alli, so we could probably bring one of those on. I don't see that he's of the front 4, he's got the best rating. So yes, he might have been error prone, but at least occasionally touching the football, presumably, because that entire team just strikes me as a bit pathetic. Sancho has been terrible in both matches against Paris Saint-Germain. The team he played for last year, he's just been awful for us against them. It's like he doesn't want to beat them, which is weird. Orlando can come on that. So we're going to do a triple substitution. I'm going to find a way to get these players all involved. We're going to shuffle things around until it works. So Greenwood is going to be the striker. Can Gibbs White go out onto the wing? He can't really. Maddison's just going to have to play on the right wing and like it. Dele, everyone wants to play on the left. Orlando, Greenwood can play on the right wing, I think, but I really want Greenwood up front. But I guess if it gets players in positions that actually work for them, this way does make a little bit more sense. We can get Greenwood. We'll even put him as an inside forward, just pushing in and supporting Orlando a little bit more. And let's ask them to get creative. If we're not getting completely outclassed like we were last time, it is an improvement. So I don't want to get too stressy with them and push too hard. We're missing our best defender, and this is worlds apart from the performance at their place when it was like a conference team playing against a Premier League team. We were that far away from them. So it's reassuring to see the stats. That being said, they're going to break away and score here, aren't they? Ball played forward for Paul Pogba. What a tackle. I didn't even see who that was. Was that Foderingham? The man who, until this point, I'm convinced is a midfielder. Even until the last episode, I was convinced that man was a midfielder. That was a good tackle. We're going to ask for 3 minutes of passion to end the game. It's a 0-0 draw. And, it might be enough. We'll say it wasn't good enough because it's frustrating not to have seen us score a goal in this episode. Orlando is in a bit of a goal drought. But, hopefully, what screen am I trying to get to? I'm trying to get to this one. Hopefully, Benfica somehow... if Benfica lose against Paris Saint-Germain, we'll just have to see. We'll see what... I think we probably have to come back quite soon and do Ghent and Chelsea, because that game is going to dictate whether or not we're in the Champions League knockout round. So we'll come back and do that on Monday. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.